I have Vikas, who is a meta ads and e-commerce expert of Invent D2C store and who sells Apple iPhones, if many doesn't know. So hi Vikas.
Hi Sarika, and thank you so much for inviting me. And hello everybody from all across the world, I believe.
How did Vikas improve their ROS from X into X into X using first party data? So we all know there's a common buzzword among everywhere that first party data. It is first party data. Everybody talks about first party data. So the world is moving towards privacy centric world. We have iOS update. We know that Chrome is phasing out third party cooking, and there is no looking back for pixel tracking of our user behavior data. So it is going to a direction how the whole e-commerce industry or the digital marketing industry is moving towards first party audience strategies. And because tell me, how did you land up with first party audience strategies? When did it happen? How did it happen?
So just to give you a background story of what our D2C store does is we sell Apple devices and the accessories that are there. We have more Android users and less Apple users. So typically Indian advertisers were not so much affected by the iOS 14.5 as the customers from or the clients from US or Europe market were. Our average order value is around $900. 10% was something that I was ready to give it as a cost per purchase as the highest benchmark, or during that period I was getting it for 30%. It spiked like anything. It's a typical story. I was looking for an agency that could help us. I spoke to 2 3 agencies that were helping customers in the first party data. And obviously I'll be very honest, I chose Customer Labs because one, it was an Indian company. Two, it was one of the most affordable first party data providers in India for me. But now that I compare it with other companies that are providing, I think you guys are pretty much affordable. So yeah, the onboarding happened. Hari was the person who onboarded us. It was flawless. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we run our website on WooCommerce, so which was pretty much plug and play.
Facebook is a primary marketplace, is it, for all the e-commerce stores? So to add to the disadvantages of Facebook after the iOS update was a there was a very poor audience match rate on Facebook for audiences that you send to Facebook. Really, is it? So once the audience match rate is low, eventually the campaign is not going to perform at all because the Facebook doesn't know who to target and when to target. There's a poor audience match rate. So when there is a poor audience match rate, typically the campaign is also not going to perform well. Adding to that, Facebook or any ad platform for that matter is cannot hold on user behavior data for more than 28 days or so if the audience are inactive. So given all these reasons, there I don't think so any e-commerce marketer or a digital marketer can rely on Facebook to save their user behavior data or track their website visitors, as in how many users have done a page view today, how many of them have added to cart, etc., etc., etc. So Facebook disadvantages was really high after the iOS update, and that was a point where we also met a lot of e-commerce marketers. We don't know something is happening and Facebook is not giving us any results, so I think you guys can provide what is it. So that's how I think 2 years back or something, first party audience strategies came into the market and it was really picking up. So yeah, so now we are arrived at first party audience strategies. Tell me about your audience strategies, like what are the audience strategies that you did, and tell me about your retargeting ad campaigns, I think, which added really good value to your campaigns. So tell me about it.
So when you talk about typically about Facebook advertising strategy, basically it's a funnelization of all your audiences. There's tofu, top of the line, the middle of the funnel, and then your bottom of the funnel. Uh, so basically, bottom of the funnel and middle of the funnel is basically your warm and hot audience that is there. Yeah, and top of the funnel basically. So pre iOS 14.5, it used to be interest based targeting, demographics, and maybe lookalike, but not with a good, match rate that was there. Right now, I mean, help me out here, Sarika. What is the typical average, you know, audience match rate is there?
If we are still going to rely on pixel, I think it is somewhere between 20-25 percentage of audience match rate that is in the market currently.
And with the customer labs?
We are seeing actually 70, 75, 70 to 80 percentage easily.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is the more refined, the better quality data that you feed into Facebook, the better it is able to target the right kind of audience for you. So for top of the funnel, I mean, so from like last 6 to 9 months, I've not tried the interest targeting. There are two reasons to it. One, the relevant interest groups that were recently removed by Facebook. That is one reason. The second reason is, I mean, the lookalike audience that I create from the audiences that are populated through custom labs works far better than the audience that I create with the pixel that we have on with Facebook. So that's that. Uh, for top of the funnel, I create lookalike audiences based on you know it 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 all drills down to the intent level. And for example, you have a lookalike audience of an initial checkout or a purchase customers versus the customers who have added to the cart and viewed the page, the page view and the add to cart. So typically, I mean, so I'll start with the start. How do you scale your brand? So so my strategy probably is that you go with creating lookalike audiences of the high intent. By high intent, I mean initiate checkout and purchases. Obviously, initially you won't have a lot of purchase data, but you'll have a decent amount of initiate checkout. So you create a top of the line, top of the funnel audience based on that, and then eventually when you have a better understanding of your customers, what is their behavior through Google Analytics and your Facebook ad performances, then you can scale up. But yeah, that's how you start. You know, keeping budgets optimized and everything. For middle of the funnel, obviously you have initiate checkout, add to cart, page view, and it is priority wise. Okay, so priority number one is initiate checkout, or you can also call it a abandoned cart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then second priority is your add to carts,
Yeah.
and then you target your page views.
Yeah.
And till the time that you're getting your desired or your targeted cost per sale, I think you should continue doing that. I mean, you can experiment a smaller budget with an add to cart or a page view, but initiate checkout and a purchase retargeting is the most definite thing that you should do.
There was an interesting insight which Google had shared. I'll just quickly share my screen and I will show that. So it says why website visitors are the most valuable users when compared to the new users or the top funnel users. It simply means there is a 3x percent higher click through rate from the website visitors, and again a 3x higher conversion rate from the website visitors when compared to the new user. So it simply means when there is an intent in the user, the conversion rate is way better than going on the interest based audiences or the typical top funnel audiences. When actually this case study actually spiked it when there was no user behavior data, the website visitor data. E-commerce marketers weren't able to track the website visitors data, is it? So then a lot of top funnel campaigns is running. So when they're actually tracking more of top funnel users, the ad spend was really costing high, but there was no necessary conversion rate for them. The very reason is the interest is comparatively less when compared to our website visitors. So this was one of the recent case studies on the masterclass of Google itself. Also, the talking about the mid funnel and the bottom funnel. So usually the thing which we are also discussing previously. So there wasn't a traditional way of targeting, the traditional way of setting the budget also. It is like we spend 90% of the budget on the top funnel, and then we go for the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks of retargeting campaigns for the users who has then added to cart or maybe all website visitors, and the sale season is over forever. Again, 6 months later, when there is a sale season coming, again we go target all the age wise, area wise demographics on the top funnel, and then do a few retargeting campaigns. So that's how the traditional way was. But what rather the tech giants itself suggest is that retarget your mid funnel audience who has visited your website 6 months back or 9 months back, who is added to cart but not purchased, who is wishlisted but not added to cart, and who is actually viewed the products and categories. On all the permutation combinations, we can segment the audience based on the intent. So that is one of the way where we can push the mid funnel to bottom funnel and eventually to the purchases. So that's the amazing case study of Google, which said website visitors are the untapped gold, but people are behind the top funnel campaigns.
With first party data, you have a better control on who you are targeting, and you give better amount of data to Facebook or let's say Google ads, and then their engine works pretty well.
Brilliant. So, as we speak about budget, so give me some tips on how to, like, what are the tips and tricks that you use while budgeting, or what is the thing that marketers are missing out when they are actually setting the budgets for their campaigns? So, let's go on the budget now. So, what do we do?
Yeah, so typically what happens with us is that it's a split of 70, 20, and 10. 70 is top of the funnel, 20 is mid MOF, and BOF is 10%. So that's how typically we go about it. There are certain red flags also that you have to look at. For example, especially in the case of Facebook ads, the frequency is that one tab that you have to constantly
Yeah.
monitor when you are for your retargeting audience. If it goes beyond 7, then you might have a problem. So you then need to look at your cost per purchase. If it's still consistent, I mean, there's no problem, there's no harm. But yeah, 7 frequency is one alarming level that is there. And for top of the funnel, I think a frequency of 2 or 3 is where you should consider monitoring your campaigns every day, as in how is it performing, what is the change in the CPC or the cost per thousand impressions or cost per purchase. So yeah.
Right. And as we speak about the metrics, tell me, like, when should a marketer consider, so okay, this campaign is going good, or what are the insights on the campaign that we are missing out to notice if the campaign is working better or not? So tell me something about the metrics, important metrics that has to be considered.
Yeah, so then I mean I will again come to the P1, P2, P3
Yeah.
in terms of priority. So the single metric that matters for a person. So I am a performance marketing professional. So
Yeah.
I for people who are running majorly the conversion ads, the single metric that you should follow always is cost per result. Yeah,
Yes.
so that's number one. Number two is, I mean, on second priority, then you can look at your cost per click, cost per thousand impressions. But then CPC and cost per thousand impressions is also linked to your creative and your copy.
Yes.
So that's how it is. So sometimes what happens is, I mean, maybe your creative and copy isn't great, but
Mm.
yeah, you are getting the right amount of conversions. Or maybe it's a season where the market is very buoyant and everybody is trying to purchase something, and you guys have a good offer but a very decent copy and creative, then the campaign will perform. But sometimes what happens is that when the market is normalized, your good copy and creative makes hell lot of a difference.
Great. So that's about the ad creatives and ad copies that we are actually talking about. So if there is a quick jots that you can have of do's and don'ts when we are actually doing the ad copies and ad creatives, like what we should do and we should strictly avoid. What are those things that you wanted to mention here?
So when you, I mean, Facebook Ads Library is your number one friend
Yeah.
when you're looking at copy and creatives. Keep looking at your competitors every day. You know? Just check out how many ads are they running, what type of ad are they running, what is their CTA, what is their creative saying, what is their for example, we have so many competitors. We have competitors like Amazon, Flipkart, and for LFR, I mean, other people don't know Chroma, Reliance. All these people are somebody that we compete. So we regularly keep a check on who is doing what. And one thing that you can notice is the longer that ad is running, that means that that ad is working. Okay.
Yeah.
So Sarika, I was looking at your ads. So
Yeah.
one of that ad with that Hollywood actor, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty crisp. So something like that, and you have to humanize your creatives. It cannot be a very plastic way of saying things. You have to humanize it. Your I mean, and you can't fool customers right now. Customers are very intelligent right now. So whatever is your offering, you just tell them. I mean, either if you're playing on the pricing part or you're playing on the features part, you if you tell them the truth, I mean, I'm sure that you will get more benefits rather than traditional fooling of you know customers through schemes like cashback and all that. So yeah,
The summary of the ad do's and don'ts is just don't lie, don't
I
bullshit,
know.
just be very honest of what is your offering is. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, that's
Brilliant.
correct.
Yeah, so now, yeah, so we have begun 2023 and we have a lot of sales seasons coming up. So do you have any one liner? When do we actually start prepping for the sales season, and what are the things that we have to do? Any one liners here since the sales seasons are coming up? Like, what should the e-commerce firstly do? What's the first step that they have to do?
So yeah, uh, for spike seasons in a calendar year, what we normally do is we preempt. For example, if you're so holiday season or a spike season is normally, except it's a launch, the spike season is normally on the offer led creatives, right?
Yeah,
So you have to preempt your offer. For example, the Christmas offer starts at, for example, 19th of
mm,
December, right?
yeah.
But if you start it 1 week before, I mean, I think you will get the momentum. And once you have the momentum, I think you have the thing that you required, and then you can sail through. The second problem that certain marketers or brands or business owners have is that the cost per purchase drastically increases during that period. So there are two ways of think about it. Either you go all in or you miss out that season. If you miss out that season, that means that you're losing out on customers that you didn't retarget. Okay, the customers with the low lifetime value, I mean, you're going to lose out on a lot. So that's one loss that you'll have. So I mean, I'm one person who is always competitive about whatever is that we are offering and staying ahead of it, because once you have a long list of customers now, you can retarget them through a lot of medias like email. Now that we have WhatsApp and SMS, there's so many medias, I mean, that you can nurture that customer even if they have not purchased. So I'll just give you an example. I hope you're aware of that. So we have a good number of offline stores
Yeah.
in India, in northern part of India. So we are trying to integrate our offline stores with Facebook so that we can track our conversions, because attribution is a big problem now.
Yeah.
And thanks to Vishnu, he's being very supportive. Now that the plan is that whenever we have a spike season, we will collect all the customer data, and then we will retarget them through all the spike seasons that we have. So so generally, what happens is for a GTM go to market campaign, we actually dump out most of our active customers, and then we send them the communications. The more number of databases. So everybody knows data is gold. The
Yeah.
more number of customers that you get, and the probability of getting more customers during a spike season is definitely there. So yeah,
Briz, I think I think that was it. So anybody who is going to, so coming to the summary of the entire piece of how to do or how to work on your e-commerce is, number one is, if your data is not good, if you do not have your own website visitors data saved, if you do not have a quality data of your website, and how much of a good our ad copy is going to be, how much of efficient if we are going to be, or how much our expert that we are on our Facebook ad campaign, if the data is not good, I think the rest doesn't matter at all. So initially,
doesn't.
to just a quick crisp, if not first party data, if you do not own, I don't think Facebook or Google or any ad platforms will be able to target the right audience at the right time, at the right space. So even tech giants like, Facebook, Google, all of them are moving towards a machine learning algorithm. So how do we actually keep the machine learning algorithm target the right audience? The more user behavior data that we share into them. So when we actually say user behavior data, or when we actually say first party data, there is a common misconception that, it is first name, last name, what is my home address, and what my email address is. But algorithm actually doesn't need just the first name or the last name. It needs my behavior. What kind of a behavior do I do when I visit a website, vagera vagera. So then, to feed in more of the user behavior data to algorithm, only then it will be able to target the right audience. So quickly, I just wanted to share one of the newsletters that the Facebook, I mean Google, has recently rolled out. Let me see if I'm able to find it. So this is what it is. So there's a lot of use cases of first party audience which is released by Facebook itself. So this is a Kia is in a car brand which has increased its conversion rate by 4x, focusing on first party data. So followed by, there is a multiple use cases which is focused or led by first party audience strategies itself. Again, to reiterate, when we say first party, when we say first party data solutions, it is not the CRM data of, first name, last name, etc., etc. So a quick sum up: start collecting a first party audience, segment your audience based on their intent, like page view, add to cart, or checkout initiated or purchased, etc., etc. Scale the retargeting campaigns on ad platforms, budget equally on your mid funnel, your bottom funnel, and your top funnel, and activate the audiences on all the ad platforms, say like Google ads, display ads, Facebook ads, etc., etc. So this, it will be our future, and I do not see any future without first party data for whole of digital marketing industry itself, and not just limiting with e-commerce. So that will be the summary of the entire session. So quickly moving up to the question and QAs. So there is few many questions. One, I do mostly tofu and bofu, and my current ROS is 2.38. Is there any way I can increase it at least by 50%? So Vikas, do you want to answer this?
Yeah. So what is the? I mean, I would really need a specific. Are they using first party data first of all?
Brilliant. So again, so that sums up to the entire thing that we're talking about. So tofu and bofu is the most traditional way. So we do the tofu, and we do 2 weeks of water funnel campaigns, retargeting, and end of the season comes. So what we rather suggest is that, to the anonymous who has questioned it, start retargeting your 6 months old website visitors, whoever has visited your page, whoever has added to cart, whoever has product viewed, category viewed, start retargeting all those website visitors and nurture them again, and slowly you can push them to bottom funnel, and then you do your hangama of grab 30% off, 50% off, whatever. So to
Yeah.
increase
So
your ROS, you will have to retarget your website visitors. We say it is a mid funnel or bottom funnel, whatever. All activate your 180 days old data, activate your 90 days old data. Yeah, because you.
yeah. So just to add up, I mean, if you want to increase your ROAS, uh, you definitely need to start with retargeting and creating lookalike audiences of your high intent audiences on your website, on your social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, the people who have engaged with your Facebook page or Instagram page, then people who have saved your post on Instagram, and then you create a lookalike audience of that. So
Yeah.
it's never only about the people who are visiting your website. It is also the places that they have interacted with your brand or whatever is that you are selling, and then creating a high intent audience. The only way to increase ROAS is targeting the high intent customers. One quick hack that I can tell you is, if you run a Google ad shopping campaign on Google Ads, then you can retarget those customers. The one benefit of running shopping ads is that you get cheap clicks and high intent customers on your website, and then you can retarget them through your MOF or BOF, or you can create lookalike audience of the customers who have visited through Google Ads.
So like we were discussing, like we have mentioned a lot about Google, like about their performance max campaigns. So performance max campaigns is all about Google says that you give me the data, you give me user behavior data,
Yes.
and I will target the more relevant audience and bring it to your website. Similarly, we also have advantage shopping plus on Facebook, where it says you give me the behavior data, let me optimize, let me understand your website visitors, and based on that I will show it the relevant ads. And of course, not only it doesn't restrict with only Facebook and Google, the whole advertising industry is going to go on automation. So when it is actually going on automation, all that we need to do is generate or feed our user behavior data to the ad platform, so that they understand each website visitors data is different, right? So to make Facebook to optimize it to the right audience, we need to feed our own data to them. So of course Facebook also competes with Google with advantage shopping plus campaigns, which is performance max on Google. The next question is, can you show some us or give some insights on few strategies to achieve forex conversions, because I do not think just using first party data that helps. Also, this is just the same use case that we showed of Google here, about the Kia. So what they say is like, scale your retargeting campaigns from bidding to smaller audience with a smaller budget, and keep scaling them as your audience size grows. So because you had a use case on that, right, when it is for SMBs, small businesses, and for big businesses. Do you want to add something on that?
For small business, I think the biggest challenge that they have is that the profitability that is there, the profitability part. So you have to closely, tightly manage your media options, as in where are you advertising. So first you'll have to look at that, then you'll have to evaluate as in which, I mean, so it's getting very repetitive, but yeah, the more high intent customers that you target, the more ROAS or return on investment you will get. So it is as simple as that.
Yeah, that's
And yeah,
very.
as Vishnu said, you will also, I mean, to increase your ROAS or return on investment, you'll have to increase your basket size also. For that, I mean, I think platform to platform, for WordPress, Shopify, you'll have to come up with certain clever strategies that you can increase your average order value. So I think these are two things, right?
That's in a one liner for the entire 30 minutes that we have had. I think because we can even speak more about more strategies, and I think we have to bring in with like part one, part two of going one after one after one.
I
So
know.
Thank you so much, Vikas, for joining, and thank you everybody for joining. I think next week we'll come up with some other even more very need of the hour session. So thank you, Vikas, for joining, for sharing all in your.
Thank you, Sarika.
Join us to our community, and if you have any questions, please drop it there.